to this Tottenham update, and let's start off with the breaking news from Bruno Andrade. And he says, with Emerson Royal confirmed at Milan, Tottenham have opened talks with Monaco for Van der Sen. The French club are expecting an offer in the region of 40 million euros, which is a massive surprise to me, this, if it is true.
Look, you got to say it's a reliable source.
It is a reliable source. If we can bump up the Jed Spence update after this one, because I think that they can go in tandem, these two, because the update is that Jed Spence, that Tottenham have decided to keep Jed Spence this summer, and defender will be part of Ange Postecoglou's first team squad this season, and Spurs will refuse any offers for the defender in this summer transfer window. That's from the Footy Insider.
So not as reliable.
But I mean, you say that, but the Footy Insider has actually, come up with some good stuff this summer regarding some of our academy prospects.
Yeah, but in what sense? What's he said?
Well, they were talking about the Moore stuff earlier on, and then Ali Gold said it like a few weeks later. They were talking about potential loan deals for our academy players.
Well, he might,
stuff like that.
Spence might still stay, but I don't think Van der Sen. Look, in terms, first of all, let's get into the Van der Sen news. So, Bruno Andrade is saying 40 million euros, which is a significant outlay for a right back to be competition with Porro. There was something at the beginning of the window you were very much in favour of. Yeah. I remember.
I love him.
He's clearly a very talented right back. Very talented. He suits what we want to do as well. I think he'd be really good competition for Porro. The big problem is with this 40 million euros. I mean, it's expensive, but that's how much these players cost these days. I don't think it's a massive outlay for a player of that quality. But what I would say is the problem we have is the quotas. So unless Spence is leaving, I don't see where there is space for him. Unless maybe Davis is leaving potentially. Or we're leaving Davis out the European squad, because we're currently we're 4 players over our squad limit. We're currently at our capacity for foreign players. So we need Reguilon, Lo Celso, or Emerson's already left. I think there's Solomon and potentially Phillips all to leave. Just so that's just so that we have a squad of 24, which is the maximum we can have, and then on top of that, probably leave Forster out the European squad. That leaves space for one signing. Now, if is that signing going to be a backup right back, or would I rather it be a winger? I'd rather it be a winger.
I just don't think this makes sense whatsoever. Like,
unless there's more sales, unless Spence is leaving. If Spence leaves on top of that, then it makes sense.
Yeah, if Spence leaves, then it does make sense, but I do think Spence is staying, unless Ange has had a change of heart. I mean, he's been, he's done well in this pre-season. He's shown himself to be a good player. He's shown himself to someone that can contribute, particularly as a backup to Pedro Porro. I would like Van der Sen, and I think Van der Sen is a better player than Jed Spence, but I just feel like we've got so many other pressing issues that we need to sort out before we go for a right back, especially for the likes of 40 million. I prefer to bring in a left back, a left centre back, a midfielder, a winger. Like, we've got so many issues that we need to address.
Unless we're thinking Spence left back, leave Davis out of the European squad, and but then that means we only have 3 centre backs.
Yeah,
because Phillips has to leave as part of this. So if Davis is left out of the European squad, we only have Romero, Van der Ven, and Dragoshin for Europe, because we literally don't have any other centre backs. Or maybe that's why he has been playing Archie Gray there a bit. Maybe he can fill in there, but. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why. I mean, Emerson's left, I get it. So you could argue there's a hole there, but Gray can play that role. Spence can play that role as backup right back. Is it the best use of our money to be
Definitely
spending 40 million on a backup right back right now, where we've got limited squad spaces? We need to get players out the door, and we need, Ange has been very clear, we need wingers, or we need to improve the forward line. We have done that with Solanke, but I think we need another one to cover the right wing. Unless he's now decided that Decky can cover that role, we need another right winger. We could do with maybe another number 6 as maybe a potentially more pressing issue. I just don't see right back as something that we need to necessarily spend 40 million right now for, which is a bit peculiar. Not to say I'll be angry if we bring him in, but if we bring in Van der Sen and then we're sitting at the end of the window with, we haven't signed another winger, but we have signed Van der Sen, that'll be a bit disappointing. But in terms of Anderson, I would be excited about bringing him in, and I do think Porro could use the help in that sense, and he's a much better backup than probably Gray or Spence on that side, and it would improve the squad. So I'm never going to complain too much about the squad depth improving, but I don't know. It just feels a bit weird that we're spending 40 million on a sub right back when we already have potentially two there, and there are other issues in the squad which we're lacking in depth.
Yeah, I think Van der Sen is pure competition for Spence. It's not even considered as a backup, in my opinion. That's how much I rate it for Porro. I mean, I think he's a top quality right back. He fits exactly what we want to do. He does well in the inverted areas as well. And I was looking at the data at the back end of last season to try and find, a competition for Porro. And he's the one that in the metrics that stacked up every single time. I really rate him, and I think he's a really good player. It just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense with the other business that we need to do from now until the end of the window. And it will be a significant outlay of 40 million. So I don't think this happens. I really don't.
But it is a good source. It's a very good source. Bruno Andrade is very reliable when it comes to Brazilian footballers. He's definitely one. I remember he was very much at the forefront when Richarlison was signing. Yeah. He called that Richarlison deal like weeks before it was agreed, and even before people were talking about it. So he seems to definitely know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's Spurs Express have given him a tier 1, so they clearly think he's reliable. So it seems to be one which, look, I guess we'll have to wait and see if other journalists like Ali Gold or anything, maybe Ali Gold will pour cold water on it. In the next 2 hours, the here we cold. We'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, it seems like we are definitely in for him, which is very, very interesting. As I say, I'm not going to complain about it. I just hope we also get our other targets and we improve the other spots which are lacking in depth, rather than improving a position in the squad we're already fairly strong in.
Yeah.
But maybe I wonder if this does have ramifications for Spence. I wonder if it does.
I'm sure it will do. But then again, Spence has been playing left back the last couple of friendlies. He hasn't really impressed that much. I think he's looked a lot stronger at right back, albeit the competition at right back has been a lot weaker. So maybe being a bit too harsh on him, because it was Bayern Munich in those 2 games where he played left back. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's thinking Spence left back and Van der Sen right back. Maybe that is the situation. But I guess all will be revealed. We have to wait and see. The next update is from The Athletic, saying that Ange Postecoglou wants Tottenham to sign an all-action number 8 before the summer window shuts. What do you think about that one?
They've been saying this all window. I don't know if it's just regurgitated news or not, because for a while they've been saying Ange wants a number 8. I remember they did a breakdown of our transfer window like a few weeks ago, and they were saying, judging by who we're linked with in terms of Jacob Ramsey and Gallagher, Tottenham are looking for a number 8. So I don't know if they're now set. Like, I don't know if it's just something like a sentence in the article. I haven't read the article, but I don't know if it's like there's a sentence in the article saying Tottenham have been looking for a number 8, and someone's like taken that sentence and aggregated it and said The Athletic is saying we're in for number 8, or whether this is like new news in terms of like Tottenham are still looking for that number 8 before the end of the window. I get the feeling it's a bit regurgitated, and it's like good. It's going back off the fact that we've been linked with number 8 throughout the window. Doesn't necessarily mean we're still looking for one now. I think the links have gone quite quiet on that. If we are, I mean, I definitely can't see us signing a number 8, a Van der Sen and a winger. I just can't see it.
Yeah, but if we were looking for a number 8 at the beginning of the window, why wouldn't we still be looking for one?
Because we've just got so many midfielders. And
we still had the same amount of midfielders at the beginning of the window.
I know, but where's the? I don't know where we were thinking about fitting them in, especially now with Kulusevski, definitely a midfielder now. I don't see how we can fit in a number 8.
I agree with you. I've been saying that all window. I was saying that even when we were linked with the number 8 at the beginning of the window, but
unless
the links were clearly there.
Yeah, unless the thought process was we get rid of Skip, Gray is a right back, and then there might be space for it if we move Bentancur to the 6. And then all of a sudden there is space to compete with Sarr in the number 8.
If it was up to me, I'd prefer to go for the number 6 instead of like putting Bentancur on the 6, which I think he can do an okay role in. But I'd prefer just to get a proper monster number 6 rather than getting an all-in-action 8.
Yeah, that's what my thought process was as well. But they clearly he sounds like I think in a perfect world it sounds like he wants a number 8 who has the legs but also maybe has a bit more offensive ability than Sarr, can do more things in the final third, which I can understand. As much as I think Sarr is improving that aspect, he's not perfect, and I know he got 3 goals 3 assists, so it wasn't terrible last year, and he can improve that, but maybe he wants someone right now ready to come in and do that role. So I can understand the want for number 8. I just don't see it as a big necessity in my opinion. I'd rather a winger, and I'd rather a number 6 in my opinion. I think they're more pressing issues, but I don't know. Yeah, and again, I don't know if it's true that we're still looking for that number 8. It might be true, but I haven't heard many links to number 8s.
Haven't really heard many links to too many players, to be fair, in recent weeks. But I think there is a lot of work going on in the background. Hopefully, I've got to hope that anyway. But, you know, Conor Gallagher's moved to Atletico Madrid. He's been called back to England. We all know that Ange Postecoglou loves a Conor Gallagher. Maybe this is, maybe I'm putting 1 and 1 here and making 100, but maybe I'm putting 1 and 1 here and making 2. Who knows? Are we going to go back for Conor Gallagher?
If that move breaks down, I wouldn't be surprised if we do, to be honest, because if he's agreed a deal to leave and he's unsettled there, and Chelsea have already made plans to be without him, maybe we will smell blood and think, you know, we can put in a cheeky bid. But again, does Gallagher really want to come to Tottenham? Are Chelsea going to put the price up if Tottenham are in for him? Those are all questions. Depends how desperate they are and how desperate Gallagher is to leave.
Well, wasn't there a report just before Gallagher did the Atletico Madrid deal that he was banned from Cobham and he was going to be only training with the under-21s? Wasn't he part of that camp?
But, you know, the wages he's agreed with Atletico, we ain't agreeing that with him. So he would have to agree not a lower wage packet, which I find it hard to believe he will. But I find it hard to believe anyone's going to give him that wage packet unless maybe, you know, Newcastle.
What wages did they agree to give him?
Big wages, like 200 grand a week or something, and that puts him, you know, as one of the highest earners in the team. I don't know if we're willing to do that. Yeah. I don't know if he deserves to be that. So I still feel like it's not going to happen, even if the deal breaks down. But I wouldn't be surprised if we re-explore it. If Chelsea and Gallagher are desperate to part ways, maybe we explore what's going on.
Another midfielder that Spurs have been linked with over the last 24 hours is Manuel Locatelli. The Juventus publications say that Tottenham are a potential suitor for Manuel Locatelli this summer. The club could offer 24 million euros plus bonuses for the midfielder. He is ready to leave Juventus should another project appeal to him, which Spurs does. I was also looking at Locatelli last season when we needed when I was looking at, you know, 6s and potential 8s, and I think he can do both roles in the 6 and the 8. And his metrics also did stack up very well, but I'm not sure what's happened to Locatelli because he was, you know, one of the best up-and-coming midfielders in Europe at one time, but it doesn't seem that way too much anymore.
I like Locatelli. I think there is a lot of value he would add to us in terms of, I think when it comes to his passing ability in that number 6 role, I think he's the kind of player we could really use. But if you're talking about a monster 6 who can cover a lot of ground, I don't know if he's him. I don't know if we'll just get overrun all the time. I think in games where we're dominating possession, we're giving the opposition very little, we're looking to break him down, and he's looking to dictate games, I think he could be very valuable in those kind of games. But I also think if you think we're getting destroyed on the counter with people like Basuma and Bentancur there, I think it's going to be even worse with Locatelli there. So I don't know if him in the 6 is the answer, to be honest. I just think he's a bit slow. I don't know if he can cover the ground that we need in that role, because that role needs to be able to be very energetic, have a lot of legs, and I don't know if Locatelli has the legs for that role.
But what's happened to Locatelli though? Because no one's really talking about him anymore. He's got a market value of 28 million on Transfer Market, which, you know, is a bit under what his height used to be at 35 million. But I thought, you know, by this stage of his career, at 26 years of age, you know, he'd be much further advanced than maybe he is right now.
Yeah, and I don't think he made the Italy squad as well. In
the Euros.
Look, he's maybe just having an off season. Look, he did play 36 games last season, so he was very heavily relied on by his club. But I think obviously Juve are having a bit of trouble of late. They maybe that lack of that uncertainty, that problems with the system has led to problems with Locatelli as well. I think he's a good player. I think he could, for the right team, he could be a very valuable player. I just don't know if we're the right team for him right now. I still think he's a good player. I just think he's a bit out of form at the moment. He's still 26. I still think he's got a lot of football to be played, and 26 isn't old, so he can definitely recapture that form. But he's definitely a bit out of form at the moment.
Yeah, I guess when we signed Kulusevski and Bentancur, they weren't on the best forms for Juventus, and they've come here and done fairly well to a certain extent.
I don't want him. I don't want him not because he's out of form. I don't want him because I just don't think he's the right fit.
Fair enough. Let us know in the comment section below, would you want Manuel Locatelli at Spurs? The last two we've got for you, Sergio Reguilon AS say that Barcelona have made a formal approach to sign Sergio Reguilon. His agent has confirmed that Barcelona are interested in signing his client. The left-back from Tottenham is now the priority target for the position after talks with João Cancelo has not progressed with Man City. Imagine going from João Cancelo to Sergio Reguilon.
Yeah, when you put it like that, I forgot Cancelo was there last year. Obviously, Balde is going to be their main left back going forward. But if they're looking for Reguilon as a Cancelo replacement, they're definitely going to be a bit disappointed because Cancelo has just got so much more ability. He's much more of a technical player. Obviously, Reguilon, you're going to get 100% effort. He's going to be like a bull in a china shop. He's going to be running all over the place and he'll press. He'll be trying very hard. But when you're looking at that quality, especially in the final third, Cancelo is one of the best there is at that kind of stuff, and Reguilon doesn't have that quality. So if they're looking to replace Cancelo with him, it's definitely a bit disappointing. But look, he could, if they're looking at Balde to be their main left back and then Reguilon to be back up to him, it's not the worst option.
Yeah, I really hope this deal happens, just because it'll just be funny to see Reguilon be one of these illustrious players that only play for Real Madrid and Barcelona. You just can't write it sometimes, can you? But last but not least, Giovanni Lo Celso. Gaston Edul says that Tottenham midfielder Giovanni Lo Celso has received offers from two clubs, Aston Villa and Real Betis. Spurs are only willing to sanction a permanent sale, and Ange Postecoglou is not counting on him to ensure he departs. And the Mail actually reported that MLS side Charlotte FC have made an inquiry for Giovanni Lo Celso.
That'll be interesting.
Surely he's not going to the MLS at this stage of his career.
He's too young for that at this point. Albeit, I heard they're going for Almiron as well. So maybe they're looking to poach a few Premier League stars who are out of favour potentially at their clubs, and they're sniffing opportunity.
Definitely ambitious.
Yeah, and if they offer enough money, you never know. But I don't think Lo Celso would do it at this stage. But I don't know what's in his mind. I would like to think he's probably still looking at a top European club, or a club who, is looking to battle for things, or what he can still achieve in European football. I still think he's got a lot to offer. I still think he's a very good player if he can stay fit. So I would find it hard to believe that at 27, he's going to go off to the MLS. But you never know what's in a player's mind, to be honest.
Yeah, out of those three clubs, who would you think is the most likely? Surely it's Betis, right?
Probably, albeit Villa are the ones most likely to maybe pay the money, albeit they've been struggling with FFP, but Unai Emery knows him. Where does he fit in at Villa, though? Because they play like a 4-4, kind of 4-4-2 system. They
just bought Ross Barkley as well.
Barkley's there, so although Emery used to play him on the wing, and I never liked him on the wing.
I cannot see him working in the wing in the Premier League.
No, I never liked him on the wing. But that's where Emery used to play him. I think he would fail if he went there. So yeah, maybe Betis would be the best fit for him right now. Just
back on our conversation before, it looks as though that Ali Gold has confirmed the Footy Insider news, saying that Ange Postecoglou wants Jed Spence to stay and be part of his Tottenham squad for the coming season, with the links to other right backs currently believed to be wide off the mark.
Well, we said we might get a Here We Cold in a few minutes, and that's exactly what happened while we were live. We got a live Here We Cold from Ali Gold. So,
the Footy Insider have some sort of link within Spurs, because they seem to get these kind of news spot on.
Well, we'll have to wait and see who's right. But at the moment, I mean, it makes more sense that we're not.
I thought just as much, man. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, yeah, it makes more sense that we're not interested in the right back. But let's hope we get our other targets through the door. But that Ali Gold saying that the links to Van der Sar are wide of the mark, so Bruno Andrade might be wrong. Or maybe it's a case of we are in talks, just in case later down in the window, if we can move out other players or something, then maybe we do get other targets in, we can then make our move for him if it falls into place. So it might be true, but maybe he's not a priority right now. Maybe that's the case.